Hi, hello. My name is Stefanie. I'm from Axinom. Thanks for joining me today in this session about the Media CMS for service provider. We launched a very new offering here at the NAB show, where we open our Media CMS for media service providers to build custom solutions on top of that. And I want to tell you today a bit more about the content management system, what we did in the past in this field, and how you can use it to build your custom projects. First of all, Axinom is specializing in content management since many, many years, since the beginning of the company in 2001, where we had our first content management system, which was a web CMS for building websites, for building e-commerce portals. And this CMS was actually used by around 100 partners. So these partners were able to use the system to build custom solutions on top. And it was used for many websites and portals, like for Siemens, for example, for Nescafe, so for really big websites, and some of them still use it today. And in 2008, 2009, we decided to build the system completely new from scratch, because we wanted to focus on the media content, on the video processing, on everything around the streaming. So this new content management system is built to manage the media content and to prepare it for the front ends. Now at NAB, we launched this new offering also for the service providers. So everything you see here now in the presentation, you can use for your custom projects. You can extend it, you can customize it. It's some kind of development platform you can use to build your own content management system, to build your custom projects on top of that. And firstly, I want to talk about the content management system, our approach for that, because we use the system for many industries. It's not only for the media industry, we also work for the aerospace industry, for the railway market. And in all these industries, if you want to launch entertainment solutions, you need a very powerful content management system, a very powerful backend to manage any kind of content, to manage media files like videos, like TV channels, but also to manage shop items, to manage advertisement, connectivity, for example, if you want to use that on board. So what you see here, what you see here, the content is any kind of content. You really should be able to have everything in one single interface, to have the media files there, to have your customer data there, the subscribers, the products, and your editors, which work with the system, are really able to have everything in one single interface. What you see here, the media pipeline, is the tool of the content management system which allows to process the content. So if it's about the media files, you need some system to ingest these files, to encode them, to protect them with digital rights management. And we integrated our services for encoding, for protecting the content. We publish it, so we cover this whole chain for the media processing. And that's all in the cloud. We are even able to process Hollywood studio content in the cloud. And you're able to prepare the files for the different platforms. Here, everything around the metadata is also very important. So if you have the files for your content management system, the media files, you still need the metadata around. And maybe you have a custom project where the customer already has some database or some system already in place, some legacy system, and he wants to leverage this information, this data. So we can integrate that by APIs. We can use the databases to enable you to use what you already have, because you should not replace everything. You should be able to use what you already have. And then here the workflows is everything around managing the content. So you now have the media processed, the media files processed, you have the metadata imported, but now somebody should be able to work with these files, to define how the navigation should be, where these files should appear in the front ends, in which products the files should be available. For example, if you have some SVOD product, some subscription, and you want to assign assets to this subscription, you can do that in a workflow. You can manage the ad queue points, you can manage everything around the licensing, for example, very important if you or your customer purchase the content from studios, and you need to make sure that you deal with the licensing. So everything around that will be managed in the workflows, and I will show you that later in the user interface. What you see here, the products, this is also a part of the workflows. What I already mentioned, the system is able to support different business models. In the media industries, the typical business models are, for example, the subscription-based, the transaction-based, and ad-based business models. So, of course, the system supports that and enables you to build VOD portals, e-commerce portals, and to sell the content. So if the editor is gone through this workflow, he needs to have a preview to see and to check if everything is fine. So one part of the system is always some staging environment to check the quality, to check the assets, and to see how it will look like in the front-end part. And then, of course, you have the publishing, which is also provided by the system. You have some validation during the publishing to see if everything is fine. If for example, your assets are still in the licensing period, you are allowed to publish these assets, and then they will be delivered. And there you can integrate with CDNs, with the cloud service providers, to get the content and to make it available for the customers. So that was a bit information about what the system is able to do. So it can be really comprehensive, really complex, because if you want to use it for big scenarios, for big customer projects, it needs to be powerful. It needs to enable you to build all the workflows on top you need. But what I want to show you now is the new media template, and this template is the new offering we provide to service providers, which can be licensed and which can be customized for the projects. This looks a bit big on this screen. Okay, so what you see here is the home screen of a content management system. The system looks different for all scenarios because it depends really what you want to support in the system. If you want to manage movies, if you want to manage TV shows, the customers. So everything you want to manage will appear here on this home screen, and it will be the entry point to the workflow you want to do. The system is built to be very user-friendly, to be very simple. It should guide the user, the editor, through the workflows. So we don't want to have a system which is full-blown, which has all possibilities and which has really big screens with lots of information, and the editor needs to go through and see what is connected, what do I have to do. He really should be guided through the workflows. So you see it's very clean, all the screens. I entered here the movies workflow, and you see you have just your list of the movies. You have the possibility to filter the movies. For example, I combine here two filters, and you see the Explorer view adjusts. I have, of course, also the possibility to operate in bulk operations. So if I select multiple movies, I can publish them, I can assign them to products, just to make it very simple, very quick. And of course, I can enter the properties of each movie. So we have here now the properties of one movie. You see all the metadata around this movie, the description, titles, the genres, for example, directors. So everything the customers want to show on the front-end side can be managed here. This can be imported, and of course you're able to edit it here. And if you use the system, all of that is flexible. So the fields you see here, this is just a sample, but you can adjust these fields, you can add fields, you can remove, you can really build whatever is needed here for your project. You have drop-down menus, like here for the genre, where you see the entries, which are filled from the administration. So your editors are, of course, able to manage these entries in the administration. You also have fields like here for the text, where you're able to just quickly type in some text, and you're later able to filter for these movies or for the live channels accordingly to the text. And here on the right-hand side, here you see the station list. This is also a very general concept of the system, that the editor always have on the right-hand side the possible stations, the possible next actions he can do for this asset. So this also depends on what the customer wants to enable his editor to do. So here should really just appear what is needed for this workflow, what he needs to do. So if somebody just needs to handle the covers, he just have one station, he select the cover and he edits it however it needs to be done, but he should not be distracted by any other actions. Here in this template, which you can get, we support you see the available streams, for example. You always have a preview, which is based on MPEG Dash. You can select the cover, of course, because you need for your video content the covers. You can manage licensing. I can go into that just to show you an example of a station. Here in the licensing, you see you can manage the licensor of this asset, but of course also the business model behind. So are you able to sell this asset in a subscription-based model or in a transaction-based model or ad-based model? But because this is very important if you publish later the products. If you want to assign this movie to an ad-based product, but you're just allowed to sell it in an SVOD product, then you will get a warning during the publishing process. Same applies to the licensing period. That's also very important, that you will at least get a warning if you want to publish some movie where the licensing period is over. Another station I can show you here is the product management, for example. The products are SVOD, TVOD, and AVOD products. You define them in the product management, but here when you're out in the movie, you can very simply assign the movie to these products. You can just remove them or assign them by clicking on these arrows, and you just go back to the movie properties. So that's also one principle of the system. Make it as easy as possible. Don't have any save buttons. You just go through the different actions, do what you want to do, and then go to the next station, and everything is saved. I also would like to show you the product management, because we were already talking about that. You see here some products we already have, some SVOD, TVOD, AVOD products with a price per month, with a price per asset. And you are, of course, able to create new ones, for example, an SVOD product here, where you need to define a pricing. This price applies per month. So you sell a subscription, for example, a kids package for 10 euros per month, and then you decide which assets should be assigned to this subscription, which assets should be available in this subscription. You also have the possibility to add parameters here, like you see here, the checkboxes for playback on multiple devices is allowed, or HD content is allowed in this subscription, because we want to support upselling models as well. If you have one subscription package with just SD content and you want to have another one which is more expensive with HD content, this is also possible. And this is, of course, extensible, so you can add any parameters here you need for your custom project. We just support the possibility to have these parameters here. Another thing you can manage here is the image management. This is always very important when you think about the media content. You need to make the media content visible somehow in the portals. So we have, of course, an image management here, and the most important thing here are the image formats. When you want to make this content available on the different front ends, you need probably more resolutions and aspect ratios for the different front ends. For example, for the iPad or for smart TV, you have the different screen sizes. So what the system does here is you have the different image formats which are automatically generated. So you just import one file and you get the different image formats which are defined in the configuration. So the editor does not have to deal with thinking about which formats he needs. You just define it in the configuration. And here in the image management, you are of course able to adjust that. So you can crop it, you can take another part, you can rotate it, so you can adjust this image if it's needed. Otherwise, it's just generated automatically and you're fine. So that was just a few screens of this media template to give you a feeling about how this looks like, how the system works. And if you are wondering what you can do with that, so you see the different screens, the possibilities. You can use it for your customer projects, but maybe you need more functionalities or you need less functionalities. It could be that you have custom projects where you just want to generate a feed for your front ends and want to consume that. So you don't need all the other functionalities here, then you can need the system as well. But if you want to have a big project and you need more functionalities, more content types, for example, you want to manage ebooks or shop items or your customers, you can integrate it here as well. You will have then on the home screen another tile for this workflow. You have the workflow engine, which is underneath, which allows you to really quickly and simply create these workflows and to really tailor it to the scenario, to the use case you have. And you will then see in the user interface how it looks like and how your users will work with that. You also have a user management here in the system and can define in the configuration the different user roles. So you can decide, if I have somebody who is administrator, he should see more than somebody who is just visitor. So this system is really flexible and you can do that by developing on top. You can get the source code of these sample workflows and just decide with your own team and with your customer what is needed, how you want to tailor it, how you want to extend it, how you want to customize it. The general system, so what you see here, for example, on the right-hand side, the station list, this is really some principle of the system. So this will stay, but you can customize the stations which will appear here. What is also a general principle of the system is here the breadcrumb above, the possibility to really quickly jump through the system and see the path where you went through. So these general principles you can leverage. It's part of our core product, and then you can build everything on top what is needed. So that was just a short introduction into this new template, into our offering for service providers. We are at the booth here in the connected media area, 12005 CM. So I would love to meet you, to talk to you about the possibility how we could collaborate, and if you have any questions, I'm still here. Thank you very much.